Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a special edition of our inter-university debate show, a platform where bright minds engage on pressing questions of our time. Today's episode, we're going to talk about the credibility of elections in Uganda since 1961, under the theme Uganda's unending quest for credible, free, and fair elections. From our hopeful days of the of before independence to the 2000s until right now. We're going to talk about integrate the issues and the institutions that are responsible for elections in our time. Today on the call, I have students of Bugema University who are going to help us understand some of these issues. And I know others are still joining because of network issues, but right now on the call we have Mr. Ogwal, Joshua Anyai. We also expect Mr. Kasibante Ivan, Mr. Omara Amos, and Mr. Niyatangi Fideri, who is going to join us in just a bit of time. So to kick off the conversation right away, I'm going to ask Joshua to come in and say hello to the viewers, but also to tell us the importance of elections in a democracy, especially in terms of political transition, but also in ensuring that the views of people are fairly represented. Joshua, can you hear us? Please say hello to the viewers and get into answering the question.
Hi, I'm Joshua Ogwal Anyai. I would like to thank Nancy, the host, for bringing us through this amazing topic. Well, when we talk about elections in Uganda, we clearly define the landmarks of democracy because as it is in the Constitution, power belongs to the people. Actually, Article 1 of the 1995 Constitution gives mandate to the people to hold power and to choose who should lead them. So from the inception of democracy from 1961 up to date, we have been seeing something where people are taken to the ballots, though we have had also insurgencies of coups and then so on. But since the inception of election in Uganda, we have had drama, political turmoils, the participation of electoral elites and citizens in the election, and basically this has been what has defined our election. But more so, to many of us, we believe that election is important when people can choose who should lead them, when people can sorry for interruptions. Well, can I continue?
Please go on, Joshua, go on.
Yes, so I was talking about the importance of election. Elections gives people the mandate to choose who should lead them. So from 1961, we have seen elections in Uganda happening like a ritual, like a custom that happens in a country. You know, it has become more of a ritual than holding its fundamental values, because often, but the questions that we are asking also more so today is about the credibility of all these elections we have been having. And actually, Madam Nancy, from the topic, the thematic area that we are having this year, the biggest question has been, the theme is Uganda's unending quest for a free and a credible election. And this topic itself really outlines that actually we are still on a quest for a credible and a free and fair election. What does that mean? It means that in the past we have been having elections, but we are still in a quest for a credible, free and fair election, starting from 1961, where we had almost a full kingdom, you know, boycott an election. We went to 1980, where ballot boxes were silenced and bullets became more loud, than the priority of the students. And we go through other elections. We came to the movement systems where ideologies, there were no differences in ideologies, political parties were banned. And so it was also called a democracy. Though we could also ask, which kind of democracy would we have when there are no different ideologies, when there are no different political parties, when there are no choices? Can actually citizens be told to make a choice or have a choice? So basically, from my vantage point of view, or to drive this discussion, I believe that election is important if the values and the principles of elections are upheld. Unlike as of what we have seen in the past, I would like to stop there, Madam Nancy.
Thank you so much, Joshua, for that elaborate answer. In your discussion, you of course identified the trends and you gave us a historical background about everything that has been happening. And for me, I feel like that has set a credible pace for this conversation. Now, of course, I would like to invite Ivan. Ivan, can you hear me now? Please unmute your microphone and talk to us if you can hear me. Kasibante? Ivan, can you hear me? Ivan, please unmute your microphone because we have I have a question for you. Joshua, maybe while Ivan figures out his network problems, we can still continue with this discussion. Joshua?
Yes.
Yes. So the Electoral Commission right now is the body that is tasked with ensuring that the elections in Uganda are credible, free, and fair. They manage the elections, but also everything concerning that critical process of our democracy. Joshua, do you believe that the Electoral Commission in Uganda operates independently, or it's too politically aligned to actually deliver credible elections? And in that, like, what political inclinations has the Electoral Commission taken? And if it has been independent, how has it showed independence in the different elections? Joshua.
You see, Madam Nancy, one of the greatest questions that we have been asking in this country is the independence of government institutions, leaving alone the Electoral Commission itself, the independence of, the institutions of government. You can talk about the independence of the army, you can talk about the independence of the police force, you can talk about the independence of even other institutions such as the parliament, independence of the judiciary, and others. This has been the most asked questions. And from history and statistics and the past, this has been answered in a form that we have not had any form of independence, especially under this movement system. So if you ask me about the independence of this current electoral commission, one, I would say that one thing that we need right now as a country is electoral reforms, because we cannot debate the question of independence of an electoral commission when, first of all, if we range back to the formation of that very electoral commission, we see how it is formed. First of all, the commissioners of the electoral commission are appointed by the president. And so that means they have to pay allegiance to the person who appoints them. And so with that alone, we see that somehow the processes and the process that leads to the establishment of the electoral commission itself is compromised. And so by that, it does not legitimize, or it does not make it so fair in review of the action of the electoral commission. And another thing also, we have seen the action of the electoral commissions pertaining elections. We have seen, for example, yesterday it was the nomination of, members of parliament, and we have seen in certain parts of the country, for example, in Bukedea, where certain candidates were kidnapped, some were removed from the ballot, from the registry. So what does this point? It points that our elections are diluted by the interruptions of power. And one of the mistakes that Uganda has had in the past, and even in 1980, if you are to see the reason why we lost hundreds and thousands of people in this country, because in 1980, when elections were rigged, and of course, all results pointed to a rigged election, millions of lives were lost in Luero, hundreds and thousands of citizens were killed. So what does this imply? When individuals are more powerful than government institutions, then citizens will always seek for options and solutions. And so this is not happening for the first time. On the question of the independence of the Electoral Commission, it is a no for me. The Electoral Commission is not independent.
Thank you so much, Joshua, for that contribution. And now I would like to invite Kasibante. Kasibante, can you hear us now? Are you getting any sound from Kasibante, Joshua?
No.
Okay.
Yes. I don't know whether you're getting me.
Yes, we can get you now.
I don't know whether you're getting but I think I've not yet got the question right. But I was requesting that you repeat the question for me so I can do my submission also.
Thank you, Kasibante. We had not yet asked you a question. I was just asking if you are available. I was just asking if you can hear us.
Yeah, I'm hearing right now. I think I've worked upon that.
Okay, thank you so much. So my question to you is about civic engagement. Civic engagement in terms of citizen participation, the civic awareness of citizens, and voter trust. So what are the key reasons why Ugandans, especially in rural areas, why do they feel like elections are already decided before the day of the polls? Why do they feel like they already know the winners of every election? And also, how does civic awareness and voter education play a role in terms of elections? What role does it play? Kasibante, come in and talk to us.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Nancy. I'm very profound and honored for asking me such a question. I think civic engagement is a very vital thing when it comes to any electoral process. I don't know whether you're getting me. Yeah, thank you. You see, like if we to see most people, for example, when we are holding when presidential candidates were being nominated, I watched a video where by a certain person was like he was praising the president just because he had fed them with food and saying that who else can do such a thing. So it really shows us the trajectory where we are following as a country, whereby it kind of embraces what Karl Marx said, that unless the population of a nation transitions from low income earners to middle income earners, that's when democracy can prevail. I think one of the reasons as why we're not having civic awareness in our communities is because I think of low literacy levels, where people are not aware of what the government is supposed to be doing, or what they should, or what are the deliverables of a government. So they end up, being bought for, like, someone gives you something like 1,000 and you praise them to the extent of even going to the ballot. Take such a person, not knowing that by the virtue of the fact that he has given you that 1,000, he has already bought you. It's no longer service delivery, but now it is a business. I think I think even the Electoral Commission as a body has failed most Ugandans, because I don't think that they have done pretty much in, engaging these people and telling them what they should expect from their leaders. And, given that most of the Ugandans reside in rural areas, I think that's where the problem is coming from, that they are having limited, maybe broadcasting services that really do reach there, so that they can be an awareness program, to create or engage them to know their civic rights as people. So I think that's my submission, Madam Ayot.
So what I wanted to ask you was, and what I asked you earlier was, why do people feel like they already know the results of elections even before the day of the polls? Like some people say they already know who the next president is going to be. Some people say that in some areas it's obvious the MP is already this person. Why do you believe that people feel that way?
Of course, that's a great question, Madam Caroline. I think even you already know who the next president is, because based on the electoral commission that we are having, that has lost credibility, that has lost transparency, and trust of the people, I think everything is possible. If you are so keen, you saw what happened in the NRM primaries, where people, instead of reporting to the chairman to the electoral commission of the party, no, to the electoral commission chairman of the party, who happens to be Tango Doi, instead they were reporting to the chairman of the party, who happens to be the president, that things are not good here, indicating that it's not the chairman of the electoral commission who was deciding then in the party elections, but the president himself. So I think that one clearly depicts what is happening on ground. In that, if you're having an electoral commission whereby, though it is constitutional right that the president is the one who elects, who chooses who to be the leader of electoral commission, but I think it has also failed to do its part, because it's not independent at all. So that's why people can predict and be like, we know what's going to happen, because they know what the wicked schemes that these people are doing. Actually, it has been there since Uganda got independence, because everyone is kind of trying to fulfill their self-interests, what they think they want. And so in such a country, you cannot have democracy and kind of elections that are free. In fact, it shows how, by the fact that people can predict who the next president will be, it shows how weak our electoral systems are and how dependent they are. In other words, they are not independent at all.
So Ivan, another question, if I may.
Yes.
Yes. So what can we do? What can make sure? I mean, what can we do in this country to make sure that people trust
I'm
the
not getting
systems
you.
that I'm saying, what can people do to make sure that we trust the
To make
systems
sure
that
that,
are in place?
Madam
I'm
Nancy,
asking, what should?
maybe, yeah. What
Yes,
should the
yes, I'm
people
asking.
do?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'm asking, what can people do? I mean, what can we do as Ugandans to make sure that we can trust the process of elections? Because all through time, we've been having less and less people go to the polls. With every election season, it's like we have less people show up to vote. So, what can the government and other institutions do to win voter trust and to make sure that people can participate in the democratic process like the elections?
I think what the government should do is, first of all, giving every political candidate a free space, because we're already seeing like what's happening, violence here and there. Unless every candidate is given a free space and the directives of the electoral commissions are followed, because to what I know is that every candidate has the freedom to kind of hold campaigns peacefully. But to what is on the ground, whenever these people have campaign interferes, I think that issue should be have free and fair engagement. I think should start within the government of the government arms. For example, uh, uh, granting the parliament its independence and the judicial system its independence would make people trust in all government organs, other government organs. But unless these organs are given their independence, I don't think that there is anything that the government can do right now to revive the lost trust in the populations.
Well, thank you so much, Ivan. Now, I will invite Joshua. Joshua, if you can hear us, please come in.
Yes, Madam Nancy, I can hear you.
Yes, thank you so much, Joshua. So I'm going to ask a question about the current political system. How prepared are we to hold another election based on all these complaints that we have? Because we have another election in 2 months. In January, we have an election, a general election where results are predictable and all that. How prepared are we for elections? But also, what is the bigger question is, will we ever have a peaceful transition in this country? Because if elections are predictable, and if we know the history of this country, even from our constitution, how prepared are we to handle a transition from one president to the next? Joshua.
Well, talking about elections in Uganda and the future of the next elections. Basically, first of all, we all know that in order to define the future, to see the future of what will happen in a few days to come, in years to come, or even in centuries to come, we should see the actions and the path which was followed in the past. And for the path that our democracy has always taken in the past, you know, from the inception of this what we call democracy. In 1961, we had the British prepare for a peaceful exit, but by compromising the political elites who had their own selfish interest. In 1980, there was massive rigging, that led to the win by the UPC. But we have seen that the lessons that we learned from 1980 is that, peace is not guaranteed by having the ballot box, by having people go to vote. We can easily see that from that election, people voted and results were declared, but still it led to a lot of noise and a lot of violence and loss of life. And therefore, with these histories of election, throughout the past, we have even had several cases under the movement system, even after after bringing back the multi-party dispensation. We have even seen court rulings where the court says that yes, there has been mishandling of election, but it was ignorable. And so with all this, we can predict the future, the nearby election. I like what my brother Kasibante said, that actually you can even know the winner. You can know the winner. And so basically what we can do as a nation is, one, the participation of the people in election is something which is fundamental. But basically, the question of a peaceful transition of power is something which is debatable, because tomorrow we cannot talk about something which should come when we have not talked about the infrastructure that should bring that thing in place. In this, I mean that in order to have a peaceful transition of power, we need to have the infrastructure, the political infrastructure that is necessary to vehicle this peaceful transition. Is not just something that will come. And this, we can see the political state in the country, a divided opposition still within the ruling government, which is marred by corruption, election, regularities and all this. We can see that such an environment is not so good, and it is not convenient for a peaceful transition of power. As even the president himself has said in the past, that he came to the ballot through force and through the power of the gun. And so he can only exit through the power of the gun. And therefore, what does that speak about a peaceful transition of power? It is so loud. They are silent. Of recent, the Minister of Justice, that the questions of transition of power is the discussion is taking place in rooms that matter. But we have also had certain people who should be in those rooms that matter, who are not there. And so does that guarantee, a peaceful transfer of power? And even if it will be there, if it is taking place in those rooms that matter, is it in the favor of the citizens? Will that transition reflect the values and the interests of the citizens, of the common people down there? And so, Madam Nancy, this is a very big question today. As citizens, our rights have been, yes? Hello?
Please go on. Please go on. Go on. I did not interrupt.
Okay. So, as the citizens of the country, especially some of us who grow up in this regime, because we are a kind of generation that grew up without seeing any other president. Well, we can have nothing much to say about transition because we have never seen one. But as the elites in the political dominions, we need to uphold the statute of the country, the credulity, the dictum, and that is the constitution. And that is why I like the question that you posed to my brother Ivan about teaching people about the constitution and civic education. You see, if we are to see in the past, most of the election problems, the problems that rose out of government and power around the wings and the corridors of power that led to violence and so on in this country, was because citizens were not educated and they never knew what they were doing. They never knew their priorities and their rights, and then so on. And so, with all this that has happened in the past as a country, now, and as the young people, we need to garner ourselves and then stick to the statutes of the rule of law. And still, even on the question of a peaceful transfer of power, if you see in 1980, one of the things that failed, that government to stand strong at that time, yet they won an election, is that, yes, elections were declared, people went and voted, but a group of people believed, and citizens believed, that the elections were compromised. And therefore, if we continue with these wings of elections being compromised, institutions being silenced, and government torn apart in corruption and doing and serving individuals instead of the citizens, we can predict that in the nearby future, the same things will happen. Revolutions happen, and we have seen it happen In Sudan, it happened just months after the election of Omar al-Bashir. It happened, yet he won by over 90%, but the same citizens that they claimed voted for him went to the street and chased him out of power. What did that reflect? Does it mean that the ballot was not established? Of course, the ballot was established. But the question of transition is sometimes bigger than the ballot box. And so to us, we want to believe that if the ballot box is disrespected, then the citizens will speak in another way. And actually, Madam Nancy, if you can see from the previous elections, we have seen that citizens are speaking through these elections. We have seen ministers, we have seen vice presidents, we have seen powerful people lose elections as members of parliament, and then so on. What does this speak to us? Yet these people are connected to the government, and then they have the power, and then so on. It shows that citizens are speaking, that they need a change, they need a transition. Well, people might be tormented, threatened, and then so on, but we can see that people are focusing towards change. And as time passes by, this change will come. Yes.
Thank you so much, Joshua. Thank you for that deliberation. And now I'd like to invite Fideri. Fideri, can you hear us? You joined the call, and I'd like to know if you can hear us. Please come in and say hello if you can hear us. Hello, Fideri. It seems Fideri is still suffering from the network issues. So Kasibante, please come in. Ivan, since Fideri is not yet available, so that we can move to the next bit of the deliberation. Ivan?
Yes, please.
Yes, Ivan. I would like to ask a question on the role of young people in the electoral process. What role should young Ugandans play in reforming the electoral process? And also, is there enough space for them to do this? Young Ugandans like you, the young university students, what can you
thank you, Madam Caroline, for that question, that what roles do young people play in reforming electoral processes? Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Yes. Thank you for the question. I feel since if you're too keen, you can see that about 60% of Uganda's population is made of the youth, which means that they should be pertinent in every decision making that should be taking place in this country. But from what we are seeing, the youth have not been, put in the systems, and instead of giving them space to play their role, they are kind of strangling them. For example, if we're to see, hello.
Kasibante, we can hear you. Please go on.
Yes, thank you. I think the youth can play a very big role in transforming the electoral processes. How? If we to see, most of the times the people that are always promoting civic awareness, moving here and there, preaching constitutional rights, for example, as the way you're doing, I think you all say youth, if I'm not mistaken, and we are also youth, and if we get our our counterparts. You also tell them about the news that you've told us, or the information that you've given us. I think the youth can really play a crucial role. But have they been given space? That's the question. If you're to see, the incumbent government has alienated most youth from involving in electoral processes. For example, if you're to see in 2021 when we were approaching 2020 when we were approaching 2021 elections, around 53 to 54 youth were killed around Kampala in a single day. What does that imply? That this alienated most youth from involving in electoral processes. I myself, and as an example, I think recently I talked to my mom and I was like, I want to, join a kind of politics, and she was like, no, 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 I still want you alive. I think you can see what the incumbent government, how it has impacted the youth today. I don't think that there is any space for electoral reforms. I beg to submit.
Well, thank you so much, Ivan. And
Yes.
I wanted Fideri to come in and maybe say something, but I don't know if his network is stable enough. But as far as I know, we have really come to the end of this discussion. Fideri, if you can hear us, can you? Mr. Fideri, can you hear us? Okay, Fideri is not available, but thank you so much, Joshua, and thank you so much, Ivan, for your deliberations. But of course, as we reflect on our journey of elections from 1961 to present, one thing is clear, that the credibility of elections is a luxury that we do not have, but it is very necessary for any democracy that is worth its name. Uganda's constitution, of course, that is now 30 years, envisioned a safeguard for justice, transparency, and free expression of the people's will. And yet, even today, the question remains, has this promise been kept? And are we able to have peaceful transition of power? Are we able to have the democracy that we deserve? The voices we've had today are the young people of Bugema University, and they remind us to push for credible elections, and that this is not a game that is over. We can keep doing it over time. So thank you so much, Ivan and Joshua, for tuning in, but also kudos for Fideri for, we know you've had it difficult with your network, but we know next time I'll have you and get your thoughts on the different issues. My name is Nancy Caroline Ayot. I've been your host, and thank you so much. I hope to see you next time. Bye.